The moment Light Yagami wrote his first name into the death note, 456 people became nothing but pawns. But in Squid Game, your face is just a number, and names don't exist. I ran Light through each deadly game and discovered his breaking point in the most unexpected place. And no, it's not the glass bridge. It's something far more mundane that would shatter his god complex entirely. As someone who has analyzed Death Note and Squid Games excessively, I noticed something everyone misses. Light's real weakness isn't what L or Nier exploited. It's something the frontman would immediately recognize and weaponize against him. Let's get one thing straight about Light Yagami. He wasn't a good kid corrupted by the Death Note. The notebook didn't create Kira, it just gave the monster that was already there some teeth. Before he even touched the black notebook, Light was already bored, narcissistic, and harboring a god complex. He was just waiting for power to fall into his lap, literally. And when it did, well, we already know how that turned out. The guy's a genius with a perfect mask of normalcy, willing to sacrifice literally anyone, including his own family, to get what he desires. But most importantly, he sees everyone as an expendable NPC in the Light Yagami show. And then there's Squid Game. It's not just a death tournament. It's an experiment wrapped in candy-colored playgrounds and masked executioners. 456 desperate, debt-ridden people competing in children's games for a life-changing cash prize. The catch? Lose the game, lose your life. It's as simple as that. But here's what truly makes it sick. The games are designed to seem fair while being anything but that. Just like our society, right? The frontman's whole philosophy is that humans are naturally selfish, greedy, and will sacrifice others to get ahead. Sound familiar? So let's drop our favorite mass murderer into the first game. Red light, green light. The most popular one that I'm sure everyone, even that hasn't watched Squid Game, has heard of. Red light, green light is all about physical control, observation, and not freaking out when people start exploding around you. Light is actually perfect for this game. Remember when he casually kept up with L in that insane tennis match? The guy's athletic, but his real advantage is his ice-cold composure. While other players would panic seeing bodies drop, Light would just catalog it as useful data. Oh, that person moved their pinky finger and died? Noted. He'd calculate the exact degree of the movement allowed and execute it perfectly. His only real risk, though, is his massive ego. If someone bumped into him or made him stumble, that narcissistic rage might cause a fatal twitch, but honestly, I'd put his survival chances at about 95% chance. He's proven it, he's athletic, he's smart enough, this is the first challenge for a reason, so I'm sure he could get through this if this dude could. He's struggling. Now for the honeycomb challenge. This is where Light would actually show off. The dude hid a TV inside of a chip bag to write down names in his death note. Do you think this is really gonna stop him? Light would probably figure out the licking method on his own in seconds. Well, I mean, he's had some time to practice. Wrong character. I mean, heck, he might even choose the umbrella shape just to prove he could do it. But that's actually his biggest risk here. His need to prove his superiority might make him pick the hardest shape when he could easily just choose a triangle. But even with the umbrella, I'm giving him a 99% chance to survive. Bro just has to look around, see that people are licking the dang honeycomb thing, and just follow in their footsteps. It's not that hard. If you're enjoying watching me mentally torture Light Yagami, I don't know, maybe like the video, that'd be cool. And subscribe if you want to see more hypothetical scenarios like this. But we're about to hit Light's first real challenge in Squid Games. Because what happens when the world's most egotistical loner has to actually work with other people? Spoiler alert, it doesn't go well. This is where Light's perfect record starts to crack. Tug of War isn't about being smart, it's about teamwork and raw strength. Light's in decent shape, but he's not exactly built like an ox. His survival depends entirely on his ability to manipulate others. He'd need to form a team of strong players who are just dumb enough to listen to him. He'd probably copy Il-nam's strategy about positioning and timing. But here's the thing, Light doesn't work well with others. He literally sees everyone as a pawn. That kind of attitude is hard to hide when you're literally fighting for your life side by side. If his teammate senses his cold, calculating nature, and they might just let go of the rope on purpose. This is the first game where I'd give Light about a 50-50 chance. Not a 100% chance he'll win, not a 100% chance he'll lose. It's pretty 50-50 depending on if he just wants to be super narcissistic or not. Unless he started having a monologue in front of his teammates out loud. These idiots don't know what they're talking about. What'd you say? Nothing. It's no big deal. But if Light survives Tug of War, what comes next is basically his playground. Game 4 is truly where Kira would shine in the most horrifying way possible. Marbles. Marbles. The marble game. The marble game isn't about skill or strength, it's pure psychological warfare. And nobody does psychological warfare better than Light Yagami. Remember how he manipulated Naomi Misora, a woman who was an FBI agent who was suspicious of him and had crucial information about Kira? Within minutes, he had her name and had written her suicide in the death note. Light would find the most vulnerable player, someone trusting, emotional, or naive, create a false connection, maybe share a made-up story about his sick sister or his dream for the future. Then he would systematically break them down using things like their own emotions against them. He would do this until they practically handed over their marbles, and he'd feel nothing afterwards. No guilt, no remorse, just happy that he's surviving. But let's think about this a little bit more. What if Light ended up paired with someone like Sang-woo in the marble game? Two calculating sociopaths trying to manipulate each other would be like watching two chess grandmasters play with human lives. But even against a worthy opponent, I'd still give Light a 90% chance chance victory here. This game is literally what he does best, manipulating people to their doom. But now we get to the Glass Bridge, a game where even Light's genius brain might not save him, because sometimes it doesn't matter how smart you are when pure luck enters the equation. The Glass Bridge is a nightmare of probability. Pick an early number and you're basically dead meat. Light would instantly calculate these terrible odds. He'd understand that the only way to guarantee survival is to go last or close to it. His strategy would be ruthless but simple. Manipulate, threaten, or coerce other players into switching numbers with him. If he draws number 1 through 10, he's finding a way to get number 16 plus. Period. Light follows one rule: the end justifies the means. Sacrificing 15 people to save himself wouldn't even make him blink. He'd see other players as nothing more than stepping stones. Literally in this case. The only scenario where he's truly screwed is if he draws an early number and fails a switch with anyone. Then all his intelligence, manipulation, and planning means absolutely nothing against the simple physics of falling through glass. So I'm gonna give him an 80% chance because there's a lot of what ifs within this. But then more than likely if he gets like an average number and he's at least decent enough with talking to these people, but there's still a 20% chance that he's an early number and these people are not willing to switch. But there's a wild card we haven't discussed yet. What if Light brings his death note into the game? That literally changes everything if he can solve one major problem first. Light's ultimate weapon has one critical weakness in the Squid Game. It's useless without names and faces. And in this competition, everyone's just a number with a tracksuit. Light's first priority wouldn't be the games themselves. It would be conducting a covert intelligence operation to get names. During downtime, he'd use the fake charm to befriend other players, casually extracting their full names. Oh, where are you from? What's your name? Got any family? Things like that. These are classic Light tactics. But the real prize would be getting a guard's name. Light would spot patterns that others miss. He'd identify the weakest link in the guard hierarchy. Someone impressionable and undisciplined. Once he has just one name and face, it's game over, dude. The Death Note's most powerful feature isn't just killing, it's controlling actions before death. He could write, steals the player's manifest containing all names and photos, and places it under Light's bed during uniform inspection. With that list, Light wouldn't just survive. He'd become the true master of the game. He could eliminate rivals between rounds or rig the games themselves. In Tug of War, he could make the opposing team's strongest players suddenly let go. In the Glass Bridge, he could force early players to correctly identify safe panels before conveniently slipping on the last one. With the Death Note, Light's survival chances nearly jumped to 100%. But knowing Light, he wouldn't just stop at survival. That brings us to the most fascinating scenario of them all. Light versus the front man. Because Light wouldn't just want to win the game, he would want to own it. Light versus the front man. The true final boss for Light wouldn't be any other player, it would be the front man himself. This is where things get philosophical. The Squid Game is the front man's twisted thesis that humans are naturally depraved under pressure. Light's entire Cure project is his thesis that humanity needs a god to purify it through fear. Light wouldn't see himself as a participant in the experiment. He'd see himself as a rival researcher conducting a hostile takeover of the lab. Season 2's new rule, allowing players to vote to end the game and split the money, would become a battleground between the ideologies. The front man would use it to prove people are naturally greedy. Light would use the Death Note to ensure the vote always continues the games, proving that players endorse his vision of necessary sacrifice. Light's ultimate goal wouldn't be the prize money, but complete control of the Squid Game organization, a pre-built infrastructure for his new world order. The final confrontation would be a battle of wits. Who can identify and neutralize the other first? Light writing the front man's name, or the front man putting a bullet in Light's head? But here's the mind-blowing twist. What happens if Light actually loses? Because his afterlife might be the most ironic punishment of all. There's a popular fan theory that humans who use the Death Note become Shinigami after death. The evidence is compelling. In the Relight OVA, there's an unnamed Shinigami who looks suspiciously like Light. Same coat, red tie-like object, limping from gunshot wounds and piercing red eyes. This mysterious Shinigami seeks out Ryuk and asks to hear the story of Kira, only to leave before hearing the humiliating ending, as if he already knows how it ends. Some fans even claim that Ryuk addresses him as Light. If this theory is true, dying in Squid Game wouldn't be Light's end. It would be his twisted rebirth as a death god, forced to watch other humans play games of life, death for all eternity. But, and this is the ultimate irony, everyone including Light goes to Mu. I think that's how you say it. Mu means nothingness. Ryuk's famous line that users go to neither heaven nor hell wasn't a hint. It was a cruel joke. Since they don't exist, no one goes there. The true destination for everyone, including Light, is oblivion. So the man who spent his life trying to become God and killed thousands to transcend mortality would simply cease to exist, becoming the same nothingness as every criminal he ever judged. The ultimate cosmic joke on his God complex. So could Light Yagami survive the Squid Game? That's a complicated answer. He'd likely survive the skill-based games, but could easily fall victim to the luck-based ones or his own personality flaws. His massive ego and contempt for others would be his biggest liability. the Death Note, he'd not only survive, he would conquer. The entire competition would become his new killing ground, and the front man would be his new L. What makes this thought experiment so fascinating isn't just whether Light would live or die, it's what his participation reveals about both worlds. Both Light and the front man believe they're conducting necessary experiments on humanity. Both are willing to sacrifice countless lives for their vision, and both would recognize each other instantly as the true threat. In the end, the most dangerous game isn't on the playing field, it's the ideological battle between two monsters who think they're righteous. But hey, if you like this hypothetical on if Kira could survive Squid Games, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you like this video, you're gonna love this one.